Chapter 51 Developments of All Parties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The dissolution of the Roots and Jiraiya's departure made Konoha return to the Konoha it once was. The security force without Uchiha was well managed by the Hyuga clan, but many people didn't notice that all the small restaurants related to Uchiha in Konoha 8th Street had secretly closed their doors and renovated them. Outside the Kingdom of Water, sporadic news came. The Snow Clan, the largest ninja clan in the Kingdom of Water with the blood inheritance limit, was dissatisfied with the fourth generation of Gotakabana Yagura being the Mizukage and assassinated him. After the assassination failed, Yagura was seriously injured and disappeared behind the scenes, and then began the brutal purge of the major blood families in the Kingdom of Water. Many Kirigakure ninjas began to flee, because the Kingdom of Water is far away, and after the country is closed. There is less and less news. The other forces are not very clear about what happened to Kirigakure. The fourth-generation Kazekage Raza of Sunagakure village was hastily appointed during the Third Ninja War, and his foundation was originally unstable, but after the Third Ninja War, he stabilized himself with his personal abilities and worked hard to develop the village's economy. He also used his blood inheritance limit magnetic escape gold to pan for gold in the desert, which brought considerable financial subsidies to Sand Hidden Village, and Sand Hidden Village entered a period of stable development. In Amigakure Village, a place where several countries meet, the old man Sanshuyu lost his fighting spirit and was greedy for pleasure. He was killed by Nagato. Then Amigakure Village entered the period of Nagato's rule. Deidara, a talented young man from Iwagakure Village, eventually left Iwagakure Village and became a rebellious nin because he disobeyed discipline. Yenin Village is in a state of decline, with only one large wild tree supporting the scene. Natsuki spent the rest of his time focusing on supporting Uchiha business. At the beginning, when Natsuki asked these civilian Uchihas to change their businesses, they encountered considerable resistance, but Xiaonan showed off his skills and invited everyone to have a dinner together, and everyone was immediately conquered by the Chinese food, the unique way of processing ingredients and the taste. But exploding flavors have made these Uchihas loyal fans of Chinese cuisine. Xiaonan had already written a plan before and asked them to renovate their store. Natsuki's attention was focused on communicating with Orochimaru. Natsuki used Yaoye's psychic beast to deliver messages every day, except for the various reports from Itachi and Shisui at the beginning. The subsequent messages were basically discussions between Orochimaru and Natsuki. Natsuki is also very optimistic about the strongest scientist in the world. Many of his future plans are inseparable from Orochimaru's support. Natsuki also told Orochimaru some things that were not written in the plan. When Orochimaru learned that the great changes in the ninja world would happen in a few years, he became even more urgent. The experiments continued every day, and he no longer had the intention to manage the Sound Ninja Village. Fortunately, with the addition of Uchiha elites, the Sound Ninja Village instantly changed. The number of tasks completed has jumped to become the ninja village with the most tasks among the 5 major ninja villages, leaving Amigakure, Takigakure, and Kusanagi far behind. Under the investigation of many ninja villages, Uchiha, who was not disguised, instantly let all the major ninja villages know that Itachi had defected to a small ninja village. All the ninja villages were watching Konoha's reaction, and the result surprised all the ninja villages. Konoha was indifferent to this, as if the matter didn't matter at all. What surprised everyone even more was that with so many Uchiha, if they wanted to seize power, the entire Sound Ninja Village would belong to the Uchiha. But Uchiha didn't seem to have any thoughts in this regard. He just worked as a ninja in the Oto Ninja Village. Natsuki was not surprised, because this group of Uchiha elites had long been brainwashed by other gods. Not to mention asking them to do their tasks honestly, they could even commit suicide immediately. Natsuki focused more of his energy on the renovation of restaurants on Konoha 8th Street. After inviting various Uchiha civilian bosses to taste delicious food last time, Xiaomu's confidence in Chinese food has also increased a lot, so the process was sped up, and in just 2 months, signs called Chinese food were all over the entire 8 streets of Konoha. As soon as the store opened, it became popular throughout Konoha Village, and there was an endless stream of people coming to taste it. All Uchiha shops sell different specialty delicacies: hot dry noodles, steamed buns, crayfish, rice rolls, rice noodles, snail noodles. It's enough for you to eat from the street to the end of the street, with its exclusive production method and various secret ingredients, with no way for others to imitate it. Other restaurants in Konoha village suddenly lost their business and had no choice but to change careers. At the same time, in Tian country, Natsuki took even greater steps. He wrote a more ambitious business plan, which Orochimaru praised greatly after reading it, because medical experiments often require huge funds to support them. In the past, the need for funds to develop ninjutsu was not that great, but if it was necessary to complete various tasks of Natsuki, whether it is strengthening oneself or researching the evolution of Sharingan, very huge funds are needed. Fortunately, Orochimaru has infiltrated Tian country over the years, and the daimyo are all under his control. With the support of the daimyo, a series of shops called Chinese food were instantly opened all over Tian country. At the beginning, the catering bosses in Taianzhiguo thought that the daimyo was crazy for devoting so many resources to support an unfamiliar thing. The final result shocked everyone. The Chinese gourmet series of stores, which include meals, desserts, and specialty snacks, are like a whirlwind, squeezing out all the ordinary restaurants in Taianzhiguo. When it comes to dinner, the original menu of single food is not as rich and colorful as the major cuisines of Chinese cuisine. When it comes to desserts, the endless variety of pastries and drinks in Chinese cuisine dazzles everyone. As for the special snacks, it is even more addictive, such as chuan chuan xiang, hot and sour noodles, hot dry noodles, rujiamo, crayfish, rice rolls, rice noodles, snail noodles, pancakes and fruit, pot meat. In a short period of time, many restaurant owners have become destitute. While many restaurant owners are thinking hard about countermeasures, the Chinese food series of stores have launched new operations, franchisee model. Restaurant owners from all over the world only need to pay a certain fee to enjoy the technical support provided by Chinese food and the production of various mysterious Chinese food. At first, these restaurant owners did not dare to try it. Everyone was afraid of things they had never seen before. Until the first batch of crab eaters appeared, they were determined and spent a lot of money to join the Chinese food specialty snack bar. Within a few months, I had fully recovered my capital and made a lot of money. Other restaurant owners couldn't sit still and waved their money one after another, wanting to join the Chinese food brand. Then starting from Taianzhiguo, the trend of Chinese cuisine gradually spread to major countries. More than a year later, Konoha 8 Streets has become the most prosperous street in Konoha. The most important reason for this is the rise of the Uchiha families. Chinese cuisine, most people have never heard of or seen the things in these gourmet shops. After the first person to try it, this otherworldly delicacy quickly conquered everyone's taste buds, and those who are interested will find that the Chinese food shops in Konoha 8th Street all appeared at the same time in Wada country. The leader behind it is definitely the Uchiha clan. Uchiha also became the richest family in the ninja world. It has been almost 2 years since Naruto and Sasuke went to school, and Naruto's homework can only be regarded as so-so, but his physical skills are pretty good. The worst thing is the refining and application of chakra. Recently, the school has been teaching transformation techniques, and Naruto always falls behind. With the daily support of Natsuki and Sasuke, the third generation seemed to feel threatened and kept mentioning Naruto's monthly money. Anyone who targets Naruto will be severely punished. I was afraid that Naruto would be abducted by Natsuki Uchiha one day. It also brought Kakashi and Naruto closer together. It's a pity that Kakashi usually has missions, and he only chats with Naruto, and there is no way to go deeper. As for people's hearts, the relationship between Naruto and Natsuki Sasuke is much better than Kakashi's. Chapter 52 Awakening of Eye Technique. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dream Space. Orochimaru formed the seal quickly. Psychic art. Bang! Wanshi's huge figure projected out. Susanoo. Natsuki Hitomi urged, and a huge body of chakra energy rose from the ground. Skeleton, flesh, armor. Boom! Violent chakra fluctuations. Natsuki Susanoo took out Yasaka's Magatama and threw it out. Wanshi's huge body can't be avoided at all. Ouch! With a low roar, Wanshi left a layer of snake slough on the spot. Wind escape. Big breakthrough. That a strong wind blew out of Orochimaru's mouth, causing sand and rocks to fly all over the ground. The vision was blurry. Natsuki has been hiding in Susanoo waiting for the opportunity. Bang! With the sound of earth and rocks exploding, she jumped out from behind Natsuki, and Orochimaru instantly appeared on the side. Latent shadow snake hands. Orochimaru pressed his hands on the ground, and densely packed poisonous snakes crawled out. Natsuki blocked she's head but instantly untied Susanna, and put her hand on she's head. Contract seal, break it. Bang! Under the huge smoke, Orochimaru's snakes were forcibly teleported back. Orochimaru made a seal on his hand, 8 different techniques. Slaw. 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 With the sound of flesh being torn apart, a huge white snake head emerged and pounced ferociously at Natsuki. Natsuki endured the huge consumption of chakra, turned on Susanna again, and drew out the huge katana on Susanna. Choke, choke, the sharp blade cut off 3 heads, but it was useless. The Yamata no Orochi's infinite regeneration properties kept the snake's head popping up. Natsuki was quickly entangled, the dream shattered and spun. Xiaonan opened his eyes, and his consciousness returned to reality. Failed again. Orochimaru is so strong. After Natsuki sent many questions and conjectures to Orochimaru, Orochimaru's name appeared in the dream training. It has to be said that Natsuki was not very optimistic about Orochimaru's actual combat ability at first. After all, Orochimaru's strongest point is scientific research. His own ability can only be said to be average. After all, Orochimaru didn't get past even one move under Itachi's hands. As a result, no matter how many times Natsuki and Orochimaru fought, they always lost more than they won. Either he died from the infinite rebirth of the Yamata no Jutsu, or he died from the beatings of the first and second generations reincarnated from the dirty soil. Or die from Orochimaru's incredible software transformation and poisonous snake attack. Natsuki didn't do well in the only illusion that could restrain Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru could not resist Itachi's genjutsu, that was because of Itachi's good knowledge of genjutsu, but Xiaonan could only use the surging power of his pupils to fight hard. For example, Itachi can be so sophisticated that he can use genjutsu to cut off your control of a certain limb. Xiaonan could only construct a psychological suggestion that he was dead. Is it easy to use? It is indeed easy to use, but it will consume a lot of pupil power. The stronger the opponent's will, the stronger the resistance. Natsuki had very little chance of winning against Orochimaru without using illusions. In this situation, Natsuki thought of the previous competition with Jiraiya. Although he held back a hand later, in the final fight of life and death, it is not yet known whether he was the one who had the last laugh. Only after competing with one of the 3 ninjas who was fighting with all his strength did Natsuki realize that he had more shortcomings. The reason why he was able to defeat Itachi, Churasui, and Fugaku was entirely because his pupil power was high and their genjutsu didn't work. As for Susanna, their Susanna was undoubtedly even more disadvantaged. In terms of size, Itachi's Susanna's limit was only about 30 meters. Natsuki's Susanoo can reach 70 meters, and continues to grow as the power of his pupils increases. Putting these aside, Natsuki also has a lot of sealing techniques that can quickly seal opponents. However, Natsuki lacks a powerful eye technique. Itachi's Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi are both very promising to Natsuki, although Xiaonan still has a disposable one that can be used once. But when it's used up, it's gone. If only my eye skills were offensive. The offensive pupil technique must also be the kind with huge lethality. As this thought appeared, Natsuki felt the Sharingan become restless. Xiaonan was shocked. Could it be? The Eye of Soul Reflection, as the name suggests, requires a strong will in the heart to awaken the corresponding eye technique. When Obito awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, it was because of Lin's death that he felt the whole world collapsed. In desperation, he wanted to escape from this world, so he awakened the divine power of another space to escape from this real world. Because Jishui deeply loves peace and dreams of changing the minds of the tribe and villagers so that they can coexist peacefully, he awakens, the other god who changes people's thinking and will. Itachi's kaleidoscope awakening was due to Shirsui's death. Itachi's thoughts were much more extreme than Shirsui's. In his view, if they cannot coexist peacefully, one of them must be destroyed, so Itachi awakened the Amaterasu that destroys all things, and the beautiful hope in his heart formed his other eye Tsukiyomi to reconstruct the world. What Fugaku thinks about every day is the future of his family. Every decision he makes is imagining the impact it will have on the future, so he awakens to the illusion that he can build the future. As for Xiaomu, she felt alienated from the entire world after traveling through time. After all, she had no real sense of time when she first came here. When Manjikyu awakened, he only remembered Susanu's unparalleled power, so I can start Susanu very smoothly, and I am even familiar with all stages of Susanu. Susan had absolutely no difficulties growing up, but in the kaleidoscope eye technique, because Natsuki has no strong emotional will at all, he still has not awakened due to his huge eye power. After all, when I came here, I had never experienced a cruel war or life or death. The eight-tailed Karabi was completely crushed. After Xiaomu figured this out, he really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It turned out that he had made such a big mistake, so looking at it this way, I have the opportunity to build the kaleidoscope eye technique. Xiaomu felt excited when he thought of this, so what if I need to avoid everything? Or is it Amaterasu who burns away all things? Or are they other gods who change the will of others? After thinking about it carefully, Xiaomu felt that it was not in line with his character. What Xiaomu wants is the ability to cut through all chaos simply and directly. Xiaomu had a strong will, and the power in her mind fluctuated violently. Natsuki couldn't help opening his Sharingan, which spun rapidly, while the Sharingan of the outer sword and inner flower rotated, 3 lines stretched out, extending to the edge of the eye socket. Dong, dong, dong. It's like the fluctuation of pupil power hitting a flat lake, spreading out like ripples of water. Those who are still in Uchiha combat, as long as they are Sanmagatama, their insight is very obvious. They clearly felt a special pupil power, sweeping over from the deputy clan leader Xiaomu. After a while, there was silence. Is Natsuki-sama testing the pupil technique? Why is this eye power so special? Chapter 53 Reasons for Poor Ninjutsu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fugaku rushed to Natsuki's residence immediately. As soon as he arrived, he saw Xiaomu walking out of the room with a tired face. Xiaomu, what happened? Why was there a fluctuation in pupil power just now? Xiaomu waved his hand tiredly. It's nothing, it's just a test of the pupil technique, which makes the clan leader worried. Eye technique? Fugaku's eyes flashed. Ordinary eye techniques, of course, would not cause such a big movement. Then there is only one possibility, the eye technique of Mangekyo Sharingan. Natsuki said that his pupil technique is the gap in the sky, a powerful pupil technique that can peek into the future. Did Natsuki peek into the future just now? Seeing Xiaomu's face full of exhaustion, Fugaku also spoke softly. Natsumu, does it cost you so much to peek into the future? Xiaomu now looks haggard, with thick dark circles under his eyes, and his eyes are full of bloodshot eyes. The whole person felt weak. Natsuki was stunned for a moment when he heard Fugaku's words, then closed his eyes and took a rest. Then he said, the activation of the sky gap is beyond my control. In recent years, the activation of the sky gap has become less and less. That's why I tried my best to record a lot of things that will be useful in the future. I just saw some future scenes again, but this time the scenes were longer than before. I also have a premonition that the sky gap will never be activated in the future. Fugaku felt sad that Natsuki's Mangekyo Sharingan had brought huge benefits to Uchiha, although it is certain that this powerful pupil technique has limitations, but suddenly it can no longer be used, which makes Fugaku a little uncomfortable. Fortunately, the Uchiha are on the right track. Whether it is the development of the Uchiha in the Sound Ninja village or the development of the Uchiha in this village, it is far better than it was more than a year ago. Now, neither the third Hokage nor any other ninja clan dare to underestimate Uchiha. Clan leader, I'm going to rest first. I'll tell you when I've sorted everything out. Xiaomu said, yawning and going back. Fugaku has long been accustomed to Natsuki's casual style, and he doesn't care about it. Instead, he called the fourth elder, Hinata, and ordered him to issue a ban to all Uchiha and not allow any news about what happened to Uchiha tonight. In fact, any Uchiha with the 3 Magatama Sharingan could sense that this was a fluctuation in eye power, and naturally would not tell anyone about it. But Fugaku still issued a hush-hush order, just in case. Xiaomu walked into the room, fell into the bed, and began to fall asleep. In fact, his pupil power and chakra were not consumed much. The reason why he was so haggard was simply because he was testing his new pupil technique in his dream, a pupil technique called Suzanwa Zun's Eye Only Enhanced Observation, which made Xiaomu a little disappointed. The other one is to strengthen Susanoo's weapon, called Amon Kongun style. Inputting more pupil power can make the weapon sharper, and in its strongest state it can tear apart space. Abito. It seems you can't dance in front of me, but in the dream, his eye power and chakra will not be consumed. So after being bombarded in the dream, Xiaomu walked out of the room because he had exhausted too much energy and needed to sleep, and this is just a small head. Natsuki's Sharingan consumes more energy. At the same time that the pupil technique was awakened, the Sharingan finally completed its leap to the next level. In other words, Natsuki has quietly become Eternal Kaleidoscope Sharingan. Now I finally don't have to worry about my eyesight running out. Natsuki thought beautifully and fell asleep. Xiaomu slept until noon on the third day, and no one disturbed him. In fact, Fugaku came over earlier to check and found that Natsuki was not unconscious, but simply sleeping. After sighing that the amount of energy required for Gap in the Sky was too staggering, she didn't call him. After Xiaomu woke up, she found that she was unbearably hungry. After drinking some water, he sped towards Konoha 8 Streets. Konoha 8 Streets, after the Chinese food shop on 8th Street became famous. Naruto and Sasuke have also become the most loyal customers. Naruto likes to eat stinky tofu the most, while Sasuke likes to eat hot and sour noodles. Naruto, who was at the bottom in ninjutsu today, took Sasuke to 8th Street after school to buy their favorite delicacies. Naruto took a fork of stinky tofu and put it in his mouth, and said to Sasuke, "Sasuke, you really should try this fried stinky tofu, it tastes really delicious." Sasuke turned away with a look of disgust on his face. "I won't eat this. It stinks so bad. My mouth will be full of stench after eating it." While Naruto lamented that Sasuke was ignorant, he was also thinking about the results of this test. With the intervention of the nine tails in Naruto's body, the refining of chakra is always messy, and the transformation technique that requires precise control of chakra is sometimes ineffective. He once imitated Sasuke, and the Sasuke he transformed was not exactly the same. It could only be said that there was no difference, but things always go wrong during class, and the transformation technique doesn't look like a human being at all, so this test has obviously become the last one. Naruto hesitated in his heart. Although he didn't know why, Naruto always felt that something was interfering with the movement of his chakra. Naruto had something on his mind and his walking speed slowed down. Sasuke looked back at Naruto sullenly, thinking that Naruto was still thinking about what happened before. Sasuke thought for a moment and said reluctantly, "Actually, I can also try this stinky tofu." When Naruto heard Sasuke's words, his eyes lit up, and he immediately forgot about his failure in transformation. He picked up a piece of stinky tofu and put it in Sasuke's mouth. Well. Sasuke resisted the strange smell and chewed the inside twice. Unexpectedly, the black shell was crispy and the aroma of fragrant, spicy, salty and sauce hit his taste buds. Sasuke was instantly overcome by the taste. He quickly grabbed Naruto's stinky tofu and started eating. Naruto was stunned for a moment. "What do you mean? Didn't you just say you won't eat yet? You stay with me, hey." The two quickly got into a fight. The two argued for a while, but Sasuke still won. After all, Naruto didn't really want to take it back, so Sasuke just took it. At this time, a figure fell from the sky, a hand hit Naruto on the head. "You two, why are you making a fuss on the street?" The person who came was none other than Natsuki Uchiha. Natsuki held a few bunches of candied haws in one hand and knocked them for Naruto with the other. Then Sasuke came again. A smile appeared on Sasuke's face. His teacher Natsuki never put on airs and was very easy to get along with. "Xiaomu hasn't come to pick them up for a while." Naruto saw Natsuki, but he shrank a little. After all, senior Natsuki had helped him so much, but his ninjutsu performance was at the bottom of the pile, which was really unreasonable. Seeing that Naruto was not as lively as before, Natsuki divided a candied haws among him and Sasuke. "What's wrong? You're depressed. Don't you want to see me?" Naruto was speechless for a moment. Sasuke told Natsuki first, "Teacher, Naruto did not do well in the ninjutsu test this time." "Oh." Natsuki looked at Sasuke amusedly, and Sasuke had an expression on his face like "You're about to ask me about my grades. So how are your ninjutsu scores?" Xiaomu still asked cooperatively. Sasuke puffed up his chest and said proudly, Naruto and I are different. Of course I am number one. Well, it's Sasuke after all. Go back and let the clan leader reward you well. Natsuki complimented him casually. After all, Sasuke was still young and had not yet reached his rebellious stage. He only needed a few compliments and he would be completely satisfied. If you put it aside later, you have to beat him severely and step on his face before he respects you. Hearing Natsuki praise Sasuke, Naruto became even more unhappy. After all, his performance in taijutsu was not bad, but when it came to ninjutsu, there was nothing he could do. The chakra in his body would sometimes run around. Natsuki rubbed Naruto's head. Why are you crying and sad? It's just that you didn't do well in the exam once. Just work hard in the future. Naruto rubbed his face, trying not to look so depressed. Senior Natsuki, this time is different. Every time I extract chakra, I always feel that my chakra is disturbed by something. I can usually use the transformation skill well, but when it comes to exams, I can't always use it well. I don't know what's wrong. Chapter 54. Of course you are not an orphan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Natsuki looked around and saw that the ANBU was still following Naruto not far behind. If he spoke even slightly louder, he would be heard. Natsuki pretended not to care, and stuffed the candied hus made of strawberries into Naruto's mouth. If you have a problem, why don't you solve it? Come on, let's go over and sit down, and you can tell me carefully. With that said, Natsuki took Naruto and Sasuke to sit on the bench next to them. I heard Naruto say carefully that every time he takes an exam or practices with his classmates, his transformation technique fails. Sasuke also listened carefully, because he was also curious. Naruto usually used transformation techniques on him, and they were perfect, but every time he failed at the critical moment. After Xiaomu heard this, he was thinking about other things. After more than a year, Naruto was already 7 years old. Unexpectedly, the school had just started teaching chakra refining techniques, and the 9 llamas in his body began to cause trouble. Although Naruto's seal is very intact, the 9 tails chakra is so huge that just a little leakage can completely prevent Naruto from controlling his own chakra. Now that I have improved so much, can I try recruiting non-Uchiha elites? There were many people around, and Naruto was a bit chatty when he spoke. After all, he had no relatives and only regarded Natsuki as his elder. Natsuki rubbed Naruto's hair with his hand and said, Naruto, think about it again. Naruto was a little confused. What are you thinking about? At this time, Natsuki's pupil power was destroyed, and his consciousness brought Naruto's consciousness, and instantly reached Naruto's inner world. Naruto looked around nervously and relaxed when he found Natsuki beside him. In the current environment, there is an ordinary corridor on the ground, and in the distance there is a cell door connecting heaven and earth. Because the spiritual world is a reflection of the real world, Naruto is much better than before, so the spiritual world is not damp and cold. Senior Natsuki, where is this place? Natsuki felt around, and sure enough, he sensed 2 chakras. They should be the 4th generation couple, but the 2 of them did not come out. He probably wanted to wait until Naruto grew up. Natsuki never takes things step by step and waits for Naruto and the fox to grow up together. After all, Naruto's world is much better now. It's not clear whether he can still negotiate with the 9 llamas. He smiled lightly and said, Naruto, this is your inner world. Mind, world. Naruto's mind was filled with questions. For him, he knew these words apart, but when they were put together, he didn't recognize them. Natsuki did not explain, but said to him, Naruto, do you want to know why you were bullied as a child? Naruto was shocked. Although his life has been full of sunshine for more than a year, there are classmates, friends, Natsuki-senpai, merchants who no longer speak harshly to him, and merchants who are getting better and better towards him. Grandpa of the 3rd Hokage, but the time when he was hated by the whole village still left the most profound memory in his heart. Once he recalled those things, his heart felt as low as a hollow, but Naruto was Naruto after all, so he quickly raised his head and looked at Natsuki with eyes full of curiosity. Natsuki didn't lie. You should have learned about tailed beasts in school. Naruto nodded. All of us seal the tailed beasts in the human body as a strategic weapon, and those who have the tailed beast sealed are called Renzali. And your own identity is Konoha's Jinchuriki. Kyuubi is sealed in your body. Naruto's face was full of disbelief, and he was stunned in place. I am the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. In this life, Naruto is no longer a fool who doesn't learn from countless others, but is studying hard every moment. What the tailed beast represents has already been taught to these children. Natsuki's words continued. The reason why those villagers hate you and discriminate against you is because the 9 tails in your body almost destroyed Konoha. Many villagers died under the Kyuubi, that's why they hate you. They all blame you for the destruction of their homes and the tragic death of their parents. Naruto's mind was greatly shocked, and he slowly fell to his knees on the ground, tears streaming from the corners of his eyes uncontrollably. It had been too long, he had been waiting for this answer for too long, he finally knew the reason for everything. Naruto cried loudly, as if he wanted to vent all his years of grievances. When Naruto cried, the 2 hidden chakras began to fluctuate violently. But in the end, the 2 chakras still did not appear. Why do you want me to be a Jinchuriki? Why? Naruto was crying out of breath and asked angrily. Xiaonan said quietly, because this is your parents' decision. Parents? Naruto was shocked. Natsuki-senpai. I have parents. I'm not an orphan. Xiaonan nodded. Of course you are not an orphan, you have parents. Who told you that you are an orphan? Naruto wiped his tears. Grandpa the 3rd Hokage told me. Natsuki said nonchalantly, that was what the 3rd Hokage lied to you. After all, he promised your parents to take good care of you, but he broke his promise. Promised to take good care of me. Naruto chewed on these 2 sentences, as if Grandpa the 3rd Hokage really took good care of me, gave me a lot of money, and visited me often. Hey, are you stupid? You don't think that the money the 3rd Hokage gave you was from him, right? That's your parents' money. Naruto was surprised. He had previously been grateful to the 3rd Hokage for giving him so much money. He grew up relying on the 3rd Hokage's money, but it turned out that it belonged to his parents. The reason why the 3rd Hokage didn't take good care of you is because after your parents passed away, the 3rd Hokage's property was taken over, and the money given to you was not even 1,000th of it. What? Naruto was filled with rage as he heard that he had already expected the death of his parents. If his parents were still alive, they would not fail to show up in these years. What makes Naruto angry is that all these years of suffering were caused by the 3rd Hokage. It turns out that my family is so rich, so I don't have to eat instant noodles and expired milk. Naruto, whose mind had turned around, suddenly no longer hated the Konoha merchants who targeted him. After all, according to what Senior Natsuki said, they all have many relatives who died from the Kyuubi in their bodies, so it is normal for them to be held grudges. What he was angry about now was that he didn't have to work so hard. After all, although money cannot solve all worries, it can solve the problem of food, clothing, housing and transportation. So Natsuki-senpai, who are my parents? Why do they want me to be a Jinchuriki? Xiaonan shook his head. You are still too young. I can't tell you now. I'm afraid that you won't be able to keep your mouth shut. Then you will be killed. Naruto bit his lip. Natsuki-senpai, just tell me, I promise to keep it a secret. Natsuki still shook his head. He dared to tell Naruto about the Jinchuriki because this matter was a secret known to everyone in Konoha. Not only the ninja clan, but also many civilians knew about it. Even if Naruto said that he already knew that he was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, he still couldn't find the source of the information. The information about his parents was much more rigorous. After all, it involved a lot of complicated things. Seeing Naruto begging, Natsuki chose a compromise. Let's do this, Naruto, if you don't tell what happened today before you graduate from ninja school, I will tell you about your parents. And everything you want to know. Seeing that Natsuki finally relaxed, Naruto was also happy. Although he had to graduate from the ninja school, at least he had a way. Okay Natsuki-senpai. I will definitely keep the secret until I graduate from ninja school. Natsuki nodded. Now that you know what Jinchuriki means, let me test you. What is the reason why you suddenly lost control of your chakra? Naruto had already thought about this question just now. Natsuki-senpai, is it the Nine-Tails trouble? Seeing that Naruto answered so quickly and completely lost the title of idiot ninja, Natsuki was very happy. Chapter 55 Inner World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's not bad. I haven't gone to school in vain for more than a year. Natsuki praised Naruto. I brought you to this place today just to let you get to know Kyuubi. The suffering you have suffered over the years is because of him. But he came to Konoha back then because he was manipulated. Now that you know that you are a Jinchuriki, you must learn how to get along with tailed beasts. Living peacefully with the tailed beasts not only improves your abilities, but also your father's expectations for you. Naruto's eyes gradually brightened when he heard his father's expectations. Don't worry, Senior Natsuki. I will definitely work hard. Hearing Naruto end with the familiar come on, he knew that Naruto had regained his strength. Natsuki walked forward with Naruto. The scene now was just a mental fantasy. The gate that seemed far away in the sky was actually not that far away. As Natsuki led Naruto forward, the Sharingan in his eyes moved. The distance between Natsuki and Naruto from the middle of the door was rapidly shortening, visible to the naked eye. You are an Uchiha. A sound like thunder exploded in Naruto's ears, and Naruto subconsciously covered his ears. Hey! The huge claws hit the door, and the word ceiling in the middle of the door glowed brightly. Ouch! Damn it! Kyuubi's claws were flicked away. But he hit the door again with a more ferocious attitude, making a muffled sound. Calm down, Kyuubi. Natsuki glared. Kyuubi's body was stiff and he fell straight to the ground, making a huge noise, unable to speak or move. Such powerful eye power. Could it be that person? The discomfort that Kyuubi felt unable to move was far less than the fear in his heart. He was afraid of such turbulent eye power. He had only encountered one person before, and that was Madara Uchiha. Kyuubi was in the door, and Naruto couldn't see clearly, but it didn't stop him from feeling the power of Kyuubi. And Natsuki-senpai can actually subdue the Kyuubi in an instant, so how strong is Natsuki-senpai? The thought that had been suppressed in my heart for a long time came up again. Natsuki-senpai. Can you be my teacher? Why? Unexpectedly, Naruto answered the question. Shiamu's purpose today was to bring Naruto into the organization. Let's see if, obtaining target specialties, is as he guessed, the best way to accept Naruto into the organization is in the name of master and apprentice. He had already ruined Jiraiya's reputation before, so it was impossible for him to be Naruto's teacher, and Natsuki is confident that Naruto will mature faster. I was originally prepared to talk about this matter after dealing with Kyuubi, but I didn't expect Naruto to speak first. Without any hesitation, with many thoughts running through his mind, Xiaomu smiled slightly. Okay, I will be your teacher from now on. Naruto was filled with joy. He didn't expect that Natsuki-senpai actually agreed without any hesitation. He would have said it earlier if he had known it. Ding. Congratulations to the host for greatly changing the trajectory of Naruto Uzumaki's life. Congratulations to the host for getting 6 Paths Sage Mode X1.it is actually the Sage of 6 Paths Mode, worthy of being the Son of the World. In that case, why not the Heavy Particle Mode? Natsuki thought greedily. After all, the ninjutsu acquired was not consumed. Ding. Successfully recruited Uzumaki Naruto. Reward host, the physique of the Uzumaki clan. Xiaomu immediately put aside all his thoughts. The most obvious thing about the Uzumaki clan is chakra. Oh no, Chatanla. Naruto relied on the Uzumaki clan's unparalleled power of Chotara. While suppressing the Nine Tails, he could also create countless shadow clones and squander them like crazy. Nagato's Chotara is even more exaggerated. One person supports 2 reincarnation eyes, and the heretic demon sucks chakra every day. In this way, he can use the reincarnation technique to resurrect so many Konoha ninjas. Sure enough, as he guessed, these are all his specialties. The system is finally powerful, but there is still no change in the one-time ninjutsu of Kwoko Sosu. A dead pig is not afraid of being scalded by boiling water. No matter how much you scold him, it will be useless. Natsuki carefully sensed the chakra in his body. It had gradually broadened from the trickling stream before. It might take some time to complete. At this time, Natsuki released control of Kyubi, and Kyubi roared, but also calmed down a little. He had discovered that the person facing him was not Uchiha Madara, but another powerful Uchiha tribesman. Natsuki raised his chin. Let's get to know each other formally. I am the deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Natsuki. Uchiha Natsuki. Kyubi chewed on this familiar name. He could sense the outside world in Naruto's body, but Naruto's daily trajectory was very simple, just going back and forth between ninja school and home. Other times it was on Konoha 8 streets. Kyubi's biggest feeling is that Uchiha has a deputy leader who is good at business, but he has no idea about his combat power. Unexpectedly, he turned out to be a powerful man with the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. I know you. Uchiha Natsuki. What do you want to do here? Kyubi is surprisingly easy to talk to, and doesn't look unruly at all. After all, it is appropriate to show a certain amount of respect to a person who can kill him at any time. Xiaonan pulled Naruto, who was stunned, beside him. There's not much to say, I just want to tell you, this, Uzumaki Naruto, your landlord is my apprentice. I will cover you from now on. Don't make any trouble for me while he's extracting chakra. Ha ha ha. Kyubi let out a harsh laugh. I didn't mean to affect his chakra movement, but when he was nervous, the chakra I spread would affect him unconsciously. This is his problem and you shouldn't come to me. Kyubi had 2 pairs of huge pupils, hidden behind the door. He could maintain respect for Natsuki, but he didn't want to spoil the brat Uzumaki Naruto. After all, he releases chakra unconsciously. Of course he can control it, but why should he bother to control it? Oh. Although Kyubi told the truth, Natsuki was still a little unhappy by not giving Shimu face. Just when Natsuki was about to say something, Naruto pulled Natsuki's hand. Teacher, let me do it. Naruto said to Natsuki, Teacher, this is what I have to face as a Jinchuriki. Okay. Natsuki nodded, wanting to see how Naruto planned to get along with Kyubi. Kid, what do you want to do? Joe snorted coldly from his nose. He didn't have a good impression of this landlord who paid attention to him. Naruto endured the tremendous pressure and walked to the door. Looking at the fox with a head bigger than the house, he mustered up the courage to say. Kyubi. I want to be friends with you. Hiss. Xiaonan suddenly felt a toothache. This was really what he was doing. Natsuki was watching from the side. Naruto first explained his painful past, expressing his understanding of Kyubi's pain and hoping to work hard with Kyubi in the future. Blah blah blah. Natsuki looked at the ferocious Kyubi from the side. His attitude gradually softened, and he felt incredible. This is the ability of mouth escape. Does Naruto know how to talk nonsense at such a young age? Or is this a talent inherent in the reincarnation of Asura? Although Naruto talked for a long time, in the end, Kyubi ignored him, but Naruto did not give up at all, and kept blaring his little mouth. This made Kyubi extremely annoyed, and he roared, It's so noisy. Then he retracted his head into the door. No matter what Naruto said, he wouldn't come out. Seeing that Naruto was not discouraged at all, Natsuki didn't have that much time for Naruto to mess around. Okay Naruto. Natsuki interrupted Naruto's spell casting. You can slowly tell Kyubi from now on that I have to send you out. Ah, okay. Naruto scratched his head. Natsuki asked Naruto, after you get out of here, you will still call me Natsuki-senpai as before, you know. Why can't you call me teacher? Naruto's little head had a big question mark. Natsuki rubbed Naruto's head. This is just a title, just be obedient. Naruto pouted and agreed somewhat reluctantly. Natsuki reached out and patted Naruto on the head, and Naruto slowly disappeared. Chapter 56 Uchiha Rich Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Natsuki looked up at the huge prison door. He said loudly, 9 llamas. Kyubi originally didn't want to talk to Natsuki anymore, but he didn't expect Natsuki to directly call him by his real name. Boom! The surge of chakra bombarded the door, making a violent noise. Why do you know my name? Xiaonan said lightly, because I have seen the future. See the future? Kyubi's first reaction was disbelief, but it was true that Natsuki called his name. Do you want to know how long it will take for you to get out of here? Xiaomu's mouth curled up, seeing Natsuki's somewhat malicious expression. Kyubi couldn't help but wonder, when? It's too slow to speak. I'll use illusion to take you to see it. Nowadays, Xiaomu has been promoted to the Eternal Kaleidoscope, and can already transmit some pictures to others through illusion. Immediately afterwards, Natsuki showed Kyubi the scene of the Fourth Ninja War, in which he was dragged out of Naruto's body and then devoured by the heretic demon. 10 Tails. 9 Llamas roared, with reluctance, anger, and fear in his voice. If he was trapped in the Jinchuriki's body, he just lost his freedom. If it is absorbed by the 10 Tails, it will completely disappear from this world. You mean there will be a fourth ninja war in 10 years? Xiaomu nodded. Do you still remember the person who controlled you to destroy Konoha? Phew. 9 Llama blew out a huge breath from his mouth, which was a sign of his anger. That Uchiha. Yes, that Uchiha clan member will be the culprit of the fourth ninja war. The ultimate goal of the fourth ninja world war is to feed all your tailed beasts to the 10 Tails, and then activate the infinite Tsukiyomi to give birth to the sacred tree and destroy the world. Natsuki sat down cross-legged and told the 9 Llamas some of the causes and consequences of the fourth ninja war. Jio Lama listened with rapt attention, but did not doubt its authenticity at all, because he was split from the 10 Tails, and Jio Wei knew the details of the 10 Tails. These are secrets from thousands of years ago that no one knows, but the Uchiha Natsuki in front of her could tell it very accurately. And Naruto is the reincarnation of Asura, and he is destined to save the world in the future. The sooner you cooperate, the stronger he is, and the safer you will be in the future. Isn't it? What do you think about the fourth generation's sealing of me? 9 Lama still held a grudge. After all, when the fourth Hokage sealed him, he also separated half of his body. As a result, he now only has half of his chakra. Natsuki rolled his eyes. You are only responsible for the fourth generation seal. Now that you are with Naruto, you will both prosper and suffer. Think about it yourself. As he said this, Natsuki slowly disappeared. In the shadows, Kyubi murmured, 10 Tails. In the spiritual world, no matter how long you have been in it, it is only a moment outside. Just as Naruto opened his eyes, Natsuki also opened his eyes immediately, and Naruto already had many things in his eyes that were not there before. In Sasuke's opinion, it was teacher Natsuki who said to Naruto, think about it again. Naruto just closed his eyes, as if he was a different person. Have you thought about it, Naruto? Natsuki smiled. As long as the fox didn't cause trouble, Naruto could improve quickly. Naruto looked at Natsuki, and then showed a big smile. Think about it. Natsuki, Sr. Sasuke glanced back and forth between Natsuki and Naruto, always feeling like they were hiding something from him. After that, Natsuki took Naruto and Sasuke for a nice stroll on the street, and asked Sasuke to go back first. Finally, he sent Naruto to the door of his house, rubbed Naruto's head, and let him in. The Umbu under surveillance relaxed when they saw that Natsuki didn't make any unnecessary moves or words, and watched Natsuki leave. Naruto walked into the door and immediately took out a note above his head. That was what Natsuki wrote to him. The spiritual world cannot be entered at any time. It requires a lot of energy. There are too many in and out, and Naruto can't stand it. Naruto looked at it carefully, then opened his mouth with a sound and swallowed the note. When Natsuki returned to the Uchiha clan, it was already past dinner time, but Xiaomu was already full, so there was no need to think about this issue. As soon as Natsuki came back, Fugaku came over. Xiaomu, the car you want has been made. When Xiaomu heard this, he became energetic. Take me to see it quickly. Xiaomu was quickly taken to the venue, where a car with a relatively low floor was parked quietly. This car is ventilated from all sides, and most of it is made of wood. Xiaomu drew it according to the shape of the sightseeing car in his previous life. The technology in the world of Naruto is not low, but because the national conditions of each country are different, there are no roads in many places, so vehicles are not common. The last compensation from Yunin village included an engine, but it was powered by chakra. Natsuki made this car just for Uchiha commoners to use to travel between the village and the clan, provide convenience for the civilians of Uchiha, and some follow-up plans. After Natsuki stepped on it, he injected chakra into the front, and the vehicle quickly started to move. There were steering wheels and brakes. If the speed needed to increase the release of chakra. It gave Xiaomu a feeling of going back to the days of driving in the past. The person responsible for manufacturing this car is Uchiha Chiming, who is more interested in this aspect of creation. This thing is not very practical. It can only travel between Konoha and the clan, because only the road in the middle can be opened. But who made Uchiha rich now? Of course, if you have money, you have to spend it. Although most of the expenses were on Orochimaru's side, it was only a small part, which made Fugaku, who was used to living a hard life, not used to it. No. After seeing the car, Fugaku quickly pulled Natsuki into the conference room. It turns out that after Uchiha announced birth incentives more than a year ago, many babies have already been born. Fugaku also gave a reward of 20 taels to every parent of a baby who kept his promise, but with the outbreak of the baby boom, the money in Fugaku's treasury flowed out like water. Fugaku was a little panicked and quickly discussed with Natsuki. Natsuki, the policy you propose to encourage childbirth has now been achieved by many Uchiha. Should we continue to pay maternity subsidies? There is not enough money in the treasury. Xiaomu squeezed her hands firmly. Of course, the clan leader can't keep his word. Besides these 200,000 taels, for every graduate of the ninja school, we will add another 40 taels, and for the children who open their eyes, we will add another taels. 10,000. As for the treasury not having enough money, I forgot to tell you about the franchise store. Franchise store? What franchise store? Fugaku looked confused. Ever since Itachi and Shisui took root in Tian country, Natsuki's business plan has been a great success and has brought a lot of money to Uchiha. If it weren't for the worry that the Uchiha clan members would have no motivation to move forward, Fugaku would have wanted everyone to pay their wages. In this case, if Xiaomu were rewarded like this, each child would be rewarded millions. No matter how much money he had, Xiaomu would not be able to stop him. Xiaomu didn't have much explanation, but just formed seals with his hands. Bang! The smoke cleared and the storage scroll opened, revealing boxes after boxes. Fugaku looked at these boxes in surprise. Could it be? Natsuki signaled Fugaku to open it himself, and Fugaku opened a box. Sure enough, it was filled with banknotes. A box contains a full 50 million, there are 8 boxes in total here. A total of 400 million. You know, Konoha's annual financial revenue is only about 1 billion. Fugaku could only express his shock by widening his eyes and inhaling wildly. Natsuki slapped Fugaku on the back in fright, causing Fugaku to stumble. He was really afraid of Fugaku's slap. Fortunately, he came from the battlefield. Seeing so much money, Fugaku quickly calmed down. Why is the franchise fee so high? It's just that there were more during the first batch of outbreaks, and then there won't be so many. Natsuki carefully explained to Fugaku what the franchise model is. Fugaku was shocked and could only smile helplessly. Xiaomu, I really don't know how your brain grew, or is there such a business model in the future? This franchise business model was indeed invented by later generations, and all good business groups in the future will use this model. Then this franchise model will reveal the secret recipes you wrote. Fugaku found that Xiaomu was simply a cash cow. The various delicacies invented are completely popular in the entire ninja world. Now that the franchise model has come out, Chinese food stores have sprung up like mushrooms after a rain. He worries that in the future there will be such stores everywhere, which will lead to the gradual loss of his advantages. Xiaomu said, you don't have to worry about this clan leader. First of all, franchisees in the franchise model can only join a relatively single type of food. And the secret recipe will only be given to one person, and a ban will be placed in that person's mind. The possibility of leaking the secret is very small. Even if it leaks, it will be a long time ago. Everyone is used to eating from our store. In the past world, who couldn't make French fries or fried chicken wings? They could, but they were still used to going to those chain stores to eat. That's the same thing. Looking at the money all over the floor, Fugaku was now full of confidence. Then just do what you said, Natsuki. We Uchiha will no longer have to be controlled by others. Chapter 57 Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fugaku looked at Natsuki with burning eyes. Xiaomu, when are you going to accept the position of clan leader? That this is not the first time Fugaku has asked this question, but Natsuki has fooled him before, now he has plans to do other things. Now that the clan has stabilized, I want to go out. How long will you be out for? Where did Fugaku go without Shimu? Shimu never had to worry about others, he had his own ideas. Xiaomu shook his head, I don't know yet. If everything goes well, it will take 1.5 years. If things don't go well, it will take 2 or 3 years. Do I have to go? Fugaku was very satisfied with the current life of his tribe. When Natsuki saw that Fugaku was in such a bad state, he had to beat him. Xiaomu changed his face to a serious one, and then pointed to the sky. Clan leader, don't be blinded by the prosperity of the moment. Some dangers have always existed, but they just haven't arrived yet. If you don't have the ability to fight against it, then the final result of our Uchiha will still be shattered to pieces. Fugaku also nodded. Danzo has been missing recently, and Konoha has been at peace with Uchiha. The Hyuga family and the Uchiha are as close as one family. The Hyuga family often invites Fugaku over so that the Hyuga family and the Uchiha can discuss with each other and team up to perform tasks. Natsuki also invested too many resources into the family, and even distributed shurikens, kunai, and other ninja tools to all Uchiha students. Common people have to save money to buy these things, so the Uchiha family will send them directly. It even allowed many tribesmen to open Chinese food shops in the village. The life of the clan members got better step by step, and Fugaku was immersed in this beauty for a while. They had forgotten the world-destroying scene that Xiaomu showed them. Fugaku sighed, it is easy to develop but difficult to maintain. Then please be safe and come back soon. Natsuki nodded and put his hands on his head. The turbulent pupil power gradually converged on a seal on the finger. Transfer seal. Fugaku was a little surprised at Natsuki's proficiency in sealing techniques. Natsuki pressed the seal on Fugaku's eyes. This mark was printed directly on Fugaku's eyes, and then gradually disappeared. Hiss. A familiar power gradually filled his eyes, and Fugaku could finally see things clearly for the first time in a long time, although this was only temporary. Shimu, you have input so much pupil power to me, what should you do if you are in danger? Natsuki's pupil power is very strong. Although the pupil power of this transfer seal is only 1/3, it still has the full pupil power of a Mangekyo Sharingan. He waved his hand and admonished Fugaku. Clan leader, the prosperity of our current Uchiha is like a bubble, beautiful but very fragile. Itachi and Shisui are not around now, and you are the only one with Kage-level combat power in the clan. People who covet Uchiha will never give up. I don't know when they will come. Our changes also represent changes in the future. We must always be on guard against incoming attacks. Although I have stored my pupil power with you, my own pupil power is enough. And there's one thing I didn't tell you. Natsuki touched his forehead with his hand and instantly opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. The overwhelming power of the eyes surprised Fugaku. You must know that Natsuki has used the transfer seal to separate part of his pupil power. Under this situation, Natsuki's remaining pupil power still has an overwhelming advantage. The key question is, Natsuki, what's the shape of Magatama in your eyes? Fugaku's heart was beating wildly. Could it be? Natsuki nodded, I am already the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Fugaku Huada stood up, how could it be? Didn't you say that only the fusion of blood relatives is possible? And Xiaomu was born during the war, not to mention his brothers and parents, even his uncles were all dead. A real loner. Xiaomu shook his head. He really couldn't explain the system, probably because of the special pupil technique I awakened. My pupil power has been growing continuously. By this year, I will naturally become an Eternal Kaleidoscope. Okay. Fugaku patted Natsuki hard on the shoulder. Although Natsuki's situation cannot be replicated, at least Uchiha has another super strong person. Natsuki can definitely become the cornerstone of Uchiha. Seeing Fugaku calm down, Natsuki said, I am going out this time and my return date is uncertain. We will try our best not to reveal our wealth, and we will hide it for a while if we can. The captain of the guard force is the Hisashi of the Hyuga branch. The wealth is very impressive. There may be people from the Hyuga clan who cross Hisashi in the future. You have to be mentally prepared. Fugaku has been the patriarch of the clan for so many years. The natural way is that there are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. He nodded. Natsuki added, if someone unknown is going to target us, then it must be that person. Who? Fugaku asked solemnly. Natsuki said, the Nine-Tails Rebellion controls the Nine-Tails people. Fugaku stood up immediately. Xiaomu, do you know his identity? That he has been waiting for too long. Because of the Nine-Tails Rebellion, the entire Uchiha clan has suffered injustice for many years, making the entire Uchiha clan almost extinct. Natsuki nodded. Now after such a long period of development, he could tell Fugaku something. He is the hero of our Uchiha clan, Uchiha, Obito. What? Fugaku was shocked, then he slowly sat down. In several ninja wars, countless people from the Uchiha clan died, but Obito is relatively famous, mainly because one of Obito's Sharingan leaked out. Although Obito gave the Sharingan to Kakashi at his own discretion, the Sharingan is after all the treasure of the Uchiha clan. At that time, the third Hokage exerted some pressure and gave some benefits before the matter was discussed. But Obito is just an executor, and there is another person standing behind him, Uchiha Madara. Natsuki continued to drop bombshells. Fugaku's eyebrows furrowed into a frown. Madara Uchiha is still alive. Xiaomu shook his head. He is dead now. Natsuki then told Fugaku that Obito was rescued by Madara and then became the spokesperson of Madara's will. He told everything about Kakashi, Obito, Lin, and the others. In this way, Obito's heart entered the darkness. He wanted to fulfill Madara Uchiha's wish and create a perfect world with Tsukiyomi. Fugaku didn't say anything sarcastic about Obito's paranoid view of emotions. After all, he was an Uchiha, and it was not surprising what kind of people Uchiha would give birth to. He was just a little bit sad, and also sighed a little. Why no one saw Obito's talent back then, from the double Magatama to the opening of the Mangekyo Sharingan, it was simply unbelievable. However, Fugaku glanced at Natsuki, as if Natsuki was the same person back then. And it was a sudden change 2 years ago. It seems that the potential of all Uchihas is immeasurable. In the following time, Natsuki basically turned Obito upside down. Then we talked about the strongest heavenly group, the Shao organization. Natsuki introduced all the members he remembered, and of course, the one that focused on the introduction was the leader Nagato. Nagato regards all powerful forces as a thorn in his flesh, and believes that the more powerful a force is, the easier it is to have a war. In the previous life, Konoha was the strongest among all ninja villages, and Kyubi was in the village. This guy Nagato came to fight against Rice, and now that Uchiha is developing rapidly, Natsuki is worried that Nagato has made some mistakes. If he insists on destroying Uchiha, it will be great. Natsuki and Fugaku talked all night long. Natsuki also introduced the Rinnegan eye that Madara gave to Nagato, and how Uchiha civilians should take refuge if Nagato comes to Konoha. There are too many variables in the future. Xiaomu can only try his best to write down some dangerous people. If Konoha can't handle it, Uchiha will run if he needs to, and Tian no Kuni has already prepared an escape route. Creak. The door of the conference room was pushed open, but it was Uchiha Mikoto who walked in, holding a tray with some food in her hand. Natsuki nodded to Mikoto. Sister Mikoto. Fugaku looked reproachful. Why are you here? Mikoto first smiled at Natsuki and then put the tray down. You guys, you don't know the time when we talk about things. It's almost dawn now. Don't you know you're hungry? Xiaomu scratched his head. He was going out for a long time this time, and he was afraid of any danger to the clan, so he was a little more wordy. Unknowingly, I had been talking to Fugaku all night. Sorry, Sister Mikoto, I will pay attention to the time in the future. Mikoto shook her head. You are the deputy chief, and what you are discussing with Fugaku must be important, but you must also pay attention to your health. Eat something first. Fugaku and Natsuki happened to be hungry, so they picked up the food prepared by Mikoto and started eating. Natsuki sighed in his heart, if he hadn't come, Fugaku and Mikoto would have died in Itachi's hands by now. Chapter 58 Climb the Tree in Advance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, Naruto woke up and was rubbing his eyes when he found that there was another person at home. Naruto was a little confused, and after shaking his head, he realized that it was the third Hokage. Grandpa, the third Hokage, why are you here so early? The third Hokage showed a kind smile. Naruto, do you still have enough money recently? Naruto said happily, that's enough, that's enough. Now I can eat whatever I want. Have you encountered any difficulties in the ninja school recently? Sandai sat on the stool and started talking to Naruto about their parents' differences. In fact, Naruto's daily activities were reported to him by Anbu. He was just trying to get closer. After the third generation chatted with Naruto again, he found that there was nothing unusual about Naruto, so he left Naruto's house. After the third Hokage left, Naruto closed the door and sighed heavily. Acting was so tiring, but he had to act. Teacher Natsuki said that he cannot let the third Hokage know that he knows many things. Naruto tidied up the room at home and ate the bento he bought yesterday before going out. As soon as Naruto went out, the Anbu outside immediately followed him, but Naruto just went to the river, where Sasuke was already practicing fire escape, fire escape ho fireball. Sasuke took a deep breath and spit out a huge fireball, but he blew the fireball directly, then jumped up quickly and threw 2 shurikens forward. Boom, boom, the fireball flew across the water and disappeared, and 2 shurikens were inserted into the center of the target behind. Pa, pa, pa. Naruto clapped vigorously. Sasuke, you are so awesome. Sasuke turned his head proudly. Humph, of course. Come on, let's go to the woods. Naruto followed Sasuke all the way to the woods. In front of him were 2 tall, large and straight trees. Sasuke coughed, and then pretended to be serious and said, yesterday, my teacher said that my chakra control was not very good, so he taught me to climb trees. It's too boring for me to climb alone. So Naruto, I'm going to teach you how to climb a tree now. Let's climb together. Naruto sat on the ground obediently and nodded repeatedly. He knew that this was what Natsuki-sensei asked Sasuke to teach him. Sasuke was a little surprised to see Naruto being so obedient. Teacher Natsuki came to him this morning and asked him if he would like to be Naruto's teacher. Sasuke, who was accustomed to being happy enemies with Naruto, could only wish for him, because he happened to learn chakra refining in the ninja school. Natsuki immediately thought of tree climbing and water treading training, because the Anbu was monitoring him day and night. If he became Naruto's teacher, the third Hokage would explode immediately. Although he is already an Eternal Kaleidoscope and is not afraid of the third Hokage, Natsuki is already preparing to go out, so it is better to keep a low profile. Anyway, Sasuke and Naruto have a good relationship, so if Sasuke is asked to teach Naruto, the third generation can't say anything. After Sasuke explained it to Naruto in a serious and decent manner, the 2 little ones began to climb. Sasuke took 5 steps before falling. After all, Sasuke is from the Uchiha clan. He has good physical coordination and can land with a graceful somersault. Turning around, he was surprised to find that Naruto had also taken 5 steps. When Naruto first gathered chakra in his feet, he was still a little nervous, fearing that the 9 tails would affect his chakra operation, but he didn't expect that it would really work this time. Naruto said to Kyuubi in his heart, "Thank you, Kyuubi." Although Kyuubi didn't reply, Naruto was still happy. Just like that, Naruto fell from the tree. Although Naruto's skills are not as good as Uchiha Sasuke's, it can be seen that he has spent a lot of time learning taijutsu. Naruto didn't panic when he fell from the air to the ground. He just adjusted his posture, landed on his feet, bent his knees, and rolled on the ground. Although the posture is not good looking, it can effectively prevent injuries, but the clothes were a bit trashy. Naruto rolled around and stood up, and his body became dirty. Naruto, look how dirty you are. Sasuke laughed at Naruto's way of getting down, but then he thought that Naruto was walking at the same height as him just now. He immediately stopped smiling. Let's continue. Hokage building. The third Hokage looked through the report submitted by the Anbu. Naruto and Sasuke trained for a day on tree climbing. Moreover, Naruto was actually on par with Sasuke, and his performance in the ninjutsu classes in the previous school was completely different. The third Hokage picked up his pipe and took a puff. That's it. Although he is the third Hokage and a doctor of ninjutsu, he still has relatively little research on Jinchuriki. As long as Naruto can be under Konoha's control, that's fine. As for Sasuke teaching him to practice climbing trees, this is a trivial matter. The third Hokage just asked the ANBU to observe more, and then let the ANBU go down. As Hokage, he actually has a lot to deal with. There has been no news about Danzo for a long time. The third Hokage knew that Danzo would not be so willing and must be hiding somewhere to accumulate strength. The tyranny of the blood mist in the Kingdom of Water has caused many elite mist ninjas to become rebel ninjas, and now the black market is completely turbulent. As for the Kingdom of Rain, it had closed the country earlier, and outsiders could not enter at all. Hanzo has also been silent in recent years and needs to be guarded against. Sunigakure has been content in the past 2 years. After all, they are too poor. Raza has been supporting the economy of Sunigakure village since the Third Ninja War, so she can rest assured for the time being. Iwagakure village heard that Inoki's genius disciple caused trouble everywhere, and Inoki wiped his ass everywhere, but this sound ninja village in Tian country, the third Hokage took the thick information sheet and read it page by page. After Itachi and Shisui left the village with more than 100 elites, they had been hiding their whereabouts. The third Hokage tried to send ANBU to follow them, but they were quickly discovered and thrown away. Unexpectedly, when they appeared again, Itachi and Shisui had already arrived at the Sound Ninja village, but Konoha did not dare to say anything. Now that the Uchiha in the village had handed over his power and had no offense with Shio in the village, the Uchiha outside the village had changed his family and lived in another place. It would not be in Konoha's interest to insist on labeling Itachi and Shisui as traitorous ninjas. After all, 4 pairs of Mangekyo Sharingan couldn't beat it, so I had to hold my nose and recognize it. What makes the third Hokage more concerned is, what does Chinese mean in the Chinese delicacies created by the Uchiha family? Is it a special code name? Sandai also tried it himself and had to admit it. After eating Chinese food, he felt like he was eating pig food before. Whether it is a dinner of various cuisines or a rich variety of specialty snacks, it is a devastating blow to the previous catering system. It was reported that the daimyo support had been obtained in Tiano country, and they could be seen everywhere. There were many more dishes than those in Konoha village. If the third generation's prediction is correct, these delicacies were created by Natsuki Uchiha. The third generation knew that Uchiha's Mangekyo Sharingan would awaken a special eye technique. Is it possible that Uchiha Natsuki's awakened eye technique was related to food? The third Hokage asked his subordinates to calculate the other party's profits, and found that just those shops on Konoha 8th Street were making a lot of money. However, Uchiha never discloses the specific amount, but it can be guessed from the quality of life of Uchiha civilians that Uchiha has made a lot of money in recent years, and all of this was brought by Natsuki Uchiha. It would be nice if Natsuki Uchiha wasn't here. Chapter 59 Travel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. The third Hokage was a little confused looking at the report in front of him. He was still thinking a few days ago that it would be nice if Uchiha Natsuki wasn't here. Today, on his desk, Uchiha Natsuki's application for a village trip appeared. Uchiha is still nominally part of the Leaf Village, so if he wants to leave the village for a long time, he must have the consent of the Hokage himself. After all, Natsuki was also a Jounin before. The excuse Xiaomu used was also very interesting. He said that he needed to go to various places to collect materials and develop new dishes. This reason that makes people think it's nonsense at first sight is actually quite convincing. Now Uchiha has entered a stage of rapid development. It is because it has a large amount of capital injection, and the inventor behind Chinese cuisine is most likely Xiaomu. It is impossible to refuse, and the third generation cannot find a reason to refuse. Now the ninja world is gradually becoming stable, except for the great turmoil in the country of water. Other countries are vigorously developing their economies. Moreover, it is already a great honor for Natsuki to submit an application. Even if Natsuki sneaks out of the village, there is nothing new. The third Hokage, can do against him. Uchiha clan, Natsuki was still packing her bags, so naturally she didn't know that the third Hokage actually believed her random reason. In this world, it is very convenient to carry things. After all, there is such a thing as a storage scroll. Natsuki can fire escape, making fire and eating is very simple. He has no water attribute chakra. Natsuki has not learned water escape for the time being. After all, the water used in water escape will disappear. At most, it is easier to find water sources. If you have the time, why not just prepare some drinking water? Because he would be away for a long time, Natsuki specially invited Naruto and Sasuke to eat Jichiraku ramen together. When Naruto learned that Natsuki was leaving the village, he almost didn't finish the ramen. After all, Shemu is already the most important person in his life. It was Shemu who brought him light 2 years ago. Since he met teacher Shemu, his life has become better and better, not to mention that he had worshipped Xiaomu as his teacher before, but Xiaomu was about to leave in such a short time. Naruto's eyes were all red and he almost cried. Natsuki didn't expect Naruto to be so clingy to him, touched Naruto's head. It's okay, I just left the village for a little longer, it's not like I won't come back. Now is the time for you and Sasuke to lay the foundation. You must learn the things in ninja school carefully. You will use them in the future. I will try my best to come back before you graduate. Naruto wiped his eyes and nodded seriously. Sasuke next to him was a little bit annoyed when he saw Naruto reluctant to leave Natsuki. However, Natsuki was his teacher and had a closer relationship than Naruto. Thinking about it this way, Sasuke figured it out. Natsuki informed him of the news earlier, and Sasuke was mentally prepared for it, but he didn't feel so sad. Natsuki lowered his voice and said to Naruto, Naruto, I have handed over your and Sasuke's future training plans to Sasuke. When you come back, show it to me. If you don't understand anything, just ask your uncle Fugaku. Naruto didn't expect that teacher Natsuki had even arranged these, and he nodded repeatedly in emotion. Sasuke was a little excited at the thought of being able to be Naruto's teacher again. The next day, at the entrance of Konoha village, Natsuki's back was stretched very long. There were many people standing behind to see him off. Most of them were Uchiha restaurant owners. Natsuki, the deputy clan leader, had solved many problems for Uchiha. The happiness index of the Uchiha people increased exponentially. The Hyuga clan, Hizu, and Hizashi also came. For them, no matter if it was Uchiha who handed over the power of the police force to them, Natsuki also saved the Hyuga clan from annihilation. The deepening cooperation has made the Hyuga clan and Uchiha as close as one family. But the third Hokage stood on the wall of Konoha. Seeing Natsuki walk away, he felt relieved. A cave, several illusory figures stood on the stone pillar. Chief, this technique of yours is really easy to use. You can have conversations from any distance. It's really an art, One of the voices said in an exaggerated tone, but several people present ignored him. Pain, who was standing at the front with a pair of reincarnation eyes, said calmly. We still need more people to realize our ideals. After Pain said this, he set the tone for the meeting. Xiaonan continued, a lot of resources are needed to realize the plan. Kakuzu, you are in charge of finance, what do you think? Kakuzu was completely hidden in the darkness. We are so powerful that we can sweep the entire black market. But recently I found another place where there may be a lot of money. Tian Country, Sound Ninja Village. There is delicious food everywhere in Tian Country called Chinese cuisine. I don't know how much money I make, but the source is in Sound Ninja Village. Hearing Kakuzu's words, Xia sneered, don't you know that is Orochimaru's territory? It's just Orochimaru, a lost dog. Kakuzu was not afraid of this so-called one of the three ninjas, because of Itachi's beard cutting. Orochimaru, who had glimpsed the future, did not enter Akatsuki. The Akatsuki organization also doesn't know what Orochimaru's abilities are. For them, Orochimaru, who has gradually disappeared over the years, does not have much deterrence. The two halves of the aloe leaf-like light and shadow opened, and Zetsu said, Orochimaru is not that great, but there are Uchiha Itachi, the Mangekyo Sharingan powerhouse, and more than 100 Uchiha elites. The Sound Ninja Village now is not a place you can go to casually. Kakuzu snorted coldly. People who have lived from the Warring States period to the present naturally know how powerful the Mangekyou Sharingan is. Seeing that Kakuzu was silent, Zetsu said, although we can't go to Oto Ninja Village, we can go find another person, Uchiha Natsuki. Who is that? Kakuzu did not recognize this Uchiha who rose like a comet. Uchiha Natsuki, the current deputy chief of the Uchiha clan, a powerful Mangekyou Sharingan, overpowering the eight-tailed Jinchuriki rabbi, making the entire Kumogakure disgraced. He is a late-blooming genius. Itachi Uchiha awakened the Mangekyo when he was 11 years old, and Natsuki didn't awaken until he was 20. But what is really great about him is his business talent. The Chinese delicacies, in the Sound Ninja Village are most likely made by Natsuki Uchiha. In Konoha, all Uchiha are doing this business, and now the Uchiha clan is extremely rich. Konan stood in the light and shadow, her face expressionless, but inside she was thinking. Her previous understanding of Natsuki was limited to knowing that he was a strong Mangekyo Sharingan. Unexpectedly, the Chinese delicacies that are popular in the entire ninja world might actually be his creation. What a help it would be if Uchiha Natsuki could be drawn into the Akatsuki organization. Damn it, how much information is there that has not been revealed? Maybe we can bring him into the organization. Xiaonan said. Zu chuckled lightly, that's a coincidence. Uchiha Natsuki has just left Konoha village and is on his way to travel. It's easy to find. Others, continue to look for suitable personnel. Xiaonan will go meet Uchiha Natsuki for a while. Nagato gave the order directly, then the light and shadow disappear. Chapter 60 Xiaonan arrives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He. Kakuzu looked at the exchange between Zetsu and Konan with cold eyes. It was obvious that Zetsu, who was in charge of intelligence, failed to report a lot of information in time. He didn't care that he was ignored, but the discord among the members made him feel a little interesting. The leader didn't say a word from the beginning to the end, but his power became more and more powerful. Although it was just a ball of light and shadow, just standing there made people feel palpitated. Compared with when he recruited himself into the organization, he is much stronger. The light and shadow disappeared one after another. Obito did not participate in this rally. He is still hiding behind the scenes, and he will join as the funny guy Fei after Xie's death. He is now focusing more on infiltrating the Kingdom of Water. Since using Sharingan to control Goju Yagura, he has launched a cruel rule over Kirigakure. In order to avoid threats and take revenge, many powerful bloodbound races were exterminated and their blood was extracted from the finances of the Kingdom of Water. For Zetsu, the rise of the Uchiha family is the biggest variable in future plans, so naturally he must try his best to deal with it. And if Uchiha Natsuki, the biggest variable in Uchiha, can be absorbed into the organization, his plan will definitely go smoother. That's why he told all the news he just got. Would you like to bring Xiaomu into our organization? Pain was non-committal. You can try it, you just make the decision. The Samsara I has become stronger again, and I need to spend more time controlling him. You need to worry about it in the organization. However, these are all insignificant things until I fully control the reincarnation I. Pain paused, and then said slowly, in the face of overwhelming power, all this is meaningless. I will make the world feel pain, and then true peace will be born. Konan looked at Nagato's oppressive Rinnegan. Nagato always wanted to use the power of the Rinnegan to solve all problems, and she helps Nagato in more ways. To capture the tailed beasts in the future, more people will be needed. After all, Nagato can no longer move freely. No matter what, Yahiko's dream must be fulfilled. Konan cheered up. Then I'll go. Xiaonan opened her white wings and flew into the sky. The villagers below saw Xiaonan's figure and exclaimed. Ah, it's Lord Angel. Master Angel, today is really lucky. In the desert, a man walks forward alone. Swish, swish, endless gravel rolling around in the wind and sand. If you don't have the right clothes, it's common to get scratched by the gravel. Natsuki tightened her cloak. Put the hat on your head in order and move on. No wonder everyone in Sand Ninja Village is covered in bandages and paint. The wind and sand are similar to knives. If the skin is exposed, getting sunburned is the next best thing. Cutting by the sand is the most painful. Xiaomu was planning to go over to see the kid playing in the sand and educate his father. After all, when Xiaomu saw this plot, his lungs almost exploded. How stupid a father must be to treat his son like that. If the test passes, the test continues until the test fails, and the product is considered a failure, then you might as well just judge him as a failure. When you try to determine from which floor a piece of glass will break if dropped, it is destined to break. Gaara is so innocent. He has lost his mother since he was a child, and his own father is still mentally retarded. Afraid that Shikaku would lose control, he stopped thinking about how to strengthen the seal and tested his son every day until the test failed. After deciding that Gaara was a failure, he began to send people to assassinate him, constantly irritating Gaara. How could someone just like to play with fire next to bombs? Being killed by Orochimaru can only be said to be his luck. If he was still alive, Gaara would eventually be swallowed by Shikaku and destroy the village. Natsuki walked toward Sunagakure village while thinking about how to teach Luo Sha, this unparalleled idiot. Suddenly a shadow fell from the sky, making Xiaomu feel a chill. Xiaomu raised his head and found two huge white wings landing with the wind. The two paper wings slowly dissipated, and Xiaonan landed lightly. Xiaonan's appearance is really shockingly beautiful. No wonder she is called an angel by people in the land of rain. Xiaonan. Why did she come to me? Xiaomu was not panicked. Although Xiaonan was the secretary to the leader of a terrorist organization, Xiaonan would not kill people randomly, and Xiaonan also works part-time as the talent director. Is it possible? When Xiaomu saw Xiaonan landing, she didn't say a word. There was no panic or surprise on her face, just some questions. Seeing that Xiaomu was silent, Xiaonan introduced herself. I am Xiaonan from the Akatsuki organization. Are you here to invite Mr. Natsuki to join our Akatsuki organization? No, you are doing something wrong. Why do you think I want to join Xiao? Xiaomu pointed at himself speechlessly. Me? What does the Xiao organization do? Why did you invite me? Xiaonan said softly, we are an organization dedicated to creating peace. As for why Mr. Natsuki was invited, it's because Mr. Natsuki has this value. Mr. Natsuki has brought countless opportunities to Uchiha. Chinese cuisine is probably Mr. Natsuki's handiwork. Natsuki waved his hand. So what? I'm a ninja from Konoha village. Why would I come to an organization like yours that doesn't look serious at first sight? Conan smiled and said, Mr. Natsuki is joking, your Uchiha relationship with Konoha is not very good. Natsuki raised a finger. A question, you answer it first and then I will consider your proposal. Xiaonan was shocked. Mr. Natsuki, please speak. Xiaomu gestured with his fingers. It's so hot here, why do you wear black clothes? Don't you know that black absorbs heat? Xiaonan. It is indeed very hot in the desert, but Xiaonan has lived through more miserable days since she was a child, so this little bit of heat and cold has no effect on her. Xiaonan said with some embarrassment. Mr. Natsuki is joking, this is the uniform of our Akatsuki organization. Xiaomu rubbed his chin and asked the question that had been bothering him for a long time. Since the clothes are uniform, then the nail polish on your hands must also be uniform, right? Is it possible that both men and women who join your organization wear nail polish? Xiaonan was surprised. This already involved the organization's secrets. Why would Uchiha Natsuki know about it? Seeing that Xiaonan's expression was wrong, Xiaomu waved his hand casually, and then took out the sealing scroll. Bang! Under Xiaonan's scrutinizing gaze, Xiaomu took out a parasol, a large kettle, and 2 cups. 2 chairs and a table. Very calmly, he put it down on the ground. Xiaomu sat down on a chair. Don't be nervous, sit down and have a cup of herbal tea. Natsuki poured herbal tea into 2 cups and pushed 1 cup towards Xiaonan. Xiaonan was a little confused about Xiaomu's behavior. Natsuki's enjoying style is not like a ninja at all, because storage scrolls are expensive. Storage scrolls are generally used to store important supplies. A few shurikens or kunai were less than 1% of the price of a storage scroll. And the scrolls that put down Xiaomu and took out these things would cost at least several million. It seems that Xiaomu is really rich.